Welcome to the official catch-up. Today we have Dave Buglass on again, director at Berwick. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm all right, thank you very much. It seems only like yesterday we all caught up in that when we first came into the club and that. But yeah, no, all well. Keeping healthy, keeping fit, and fingers crossed. Looking forward to our first friendly on Saturday, which hopefully we'll talk a wee bit about.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I do need to ask: Did you get much of the TikTok done with your daughter over the last time we spoke?
Very good. Yeah, you've got a good memory. Yeah. We actually had quite a serious TikTok conversation yesterday because I think there'd been something happened in the States and that. But yeah, I got marginally better at TikTok as lockdown kind of went on. But yeah, I'm not really a dancer, I have to be honest. And I think I've got worse as I've got older. So I was 50 last week as well. So I think I'm beyond TikTok, I've decided. So.
No, well, we had a conversation pretty much towards probably the beginning of the lockdown. It's been a few months now. There's been a lot happening on and off the pitch at Berwick, so we're probably just going to have a catch up regarding that, and obviously, hopefully, the return to football. You mentioned the friendly on Saturday. I noticed a lot of teams are setting up friendlies, which is great. Obviously, there's some issues that we'll get into, obviously with COVID-19 and regulations, but. Let's start with off the field to begin with. You guys have launched the Club 1881 membership for the price of $18.81 per month, which I'll absolutely love. I love that. What sort of things does that include? In your membership, what are you going to get out of that, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke at the start of the year. One of the things we recognised as a club we had to do was. They talk about, building a plane by, whilst flying it. We had to take our plane out of circulation and almost stick it in the hangar and strip it back. And one of the first things we recognised was that if we were going to lose £65,000 by the end of the season, which obviously, we reduced down to 19k, which was phenomenal, we had to move from a cash model that suggested that we just got big payments from the SPFL at the start of the season. And then thereafter, we had to just survive on attendances. So the idea of the 1881, Club 1881, was really just to start to provide us with a regular cash flow. And we'd seen through Donate a Ticket and the 1881 fund that the fans did, feel that they wanted to kind of give us a bit of support. So the scheme's very, very simple. As it says, it's £18.81 a month. We collect via direct debit. What fans get for that is they get access to all Lowland League home matches. So, maybe in a month where there's 3, they will benefit. Maybe in a month where there's 1, they benefit a little bit less, but obviously it all evens itself out. But the other kind of things we've been doing in there is that a lot of the digital content that the comms guys have been putting together, like videos and interviews and even the chat with the manager and stuff like that, that will go out to 1881 members maybe 24, 48 hours before. So they will find out about any player signings ahead of our main fan base. So we're trying to kind of sort of give them almost like a wee bit of a privileged access. And as well, at the same time, we also give them access into the bond scheme draw where they have a chance to win money off the back of the monthly subscription. But I mean, the main benefit for us is we know that I think we're at 72 members already. We know that, that kind of money, 72 times 1881 a month is, guaranteed cash flow and income, which goes all the way through the season in terms of the 12 months. So, we've seen a really good response from supporters and, hopefully fingers crossed it'll continue to grow. And, at the same time, we'll be looking at our season ticket proposition as we know a little bit, more closely when we start back. But yeah, it's been brilliant. The fans have been fantastic all the way through the season, even after, the way things ended last year. I mean, I think, you've said this a couple of times before when I've listened to some of the podcasts you guys have done, but, for a club our size, played 24 points, positioned 12th out of 16, simply unacceptable. And, at the same time, we had to kind of recognise last year was a tough year coming down from the leagues and, being that club and, being the 42nd club in that. So the 1881 and, the fan support has been fantastic and just helping us stabilise.
Yeah, and there was a few other things that I noticed you've kind of been adding more and more to the Club 1881, which I think has been great. Obviously, the digital editions of matchday programmes. I think that will be fantastic for this level. One thing we do have to mention, obviously, is the Berwick Rangers podcast. I've listened to a few of them. I've not listened to the latest one, but I love seeing that. I noticed a few clubs, obviously, during lockdown doing that sort of thing. I guess Is that a way to obviously get closer to the fans, let them know what's going on?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I think when I spoke to you earlier in the year, the first thing we said as a board was that transparency would be at the heart of our recovery. So everything that we did, we wanted the fans to know. We wanted them to hear from us. For example, if we have a board meeting every month, which we do via Zoom on a Friday morning by 11 o'clock, the board news is out.
Yeah.
So they'll get told about all the things we're doing. And the podcast was probably just another channel where we felt that, by giving the fans, direct kind of updates from whether it be players in the squad or whether it be players who have played for us, or even I think the latest one is Brian, the chairman, Brian Porteous and Craig, whether we've been given a bit of an update. We just felt it was critical and key that we kept that kind of transparency going, and it's really stood us in good stead because we've had a lot of really positive feedback from supporters in terms of the fact that we've actually kind of kept them informed, and there isn't a day goes by, as you know yourself from following some of our social media, that there's not a Berwick Rangers update or a news story out. And a lot of that's testament. The podcast testament goes down to a young lad called Adam Hunter, who he's worked really hard on that concept. Big Kev Haynes, the assistant manager, he quite enjoys it. He kind of sort of co-flies the plane with them on a Sunday when they record them. But the comms guys we've got in the background as well, Martin Ingalls, Dale Jones, Graham Gurney, others, Nathan Thompson. We've just felt that, as I said, the comm stuff's been really quite critical and key to the success. And I think what's been really quite inspiring is I was at pre-season on Saturday there, and we were at Gullen because you have to do Gullen once in your pre-season, and it was really interesting listening to the players talking about it. The Kev Woffs, the Craig Reeds, the Kieran Somervilles, some of the new guys that have came in, Jordan Sinclair, and a lot of these guys didn't realise how big the club is, in terms of the infrastructure we have. So it's great to hear the players are happy. It's great to hear the supporters are happy, and I guess the biggest great has been that the sponsors have started to kind of roll in, and we've not really had a struggle over the summer to try and attract new sponsorships. So
brilliant. And I was curious about the name. Let It Be BARFC. I thought it was like a play on the Beatles song, obviously, but no, I think it works well. And I have I've listened to a few of them. As I say, I've not listened to the latest one, but Bonnyrigg, Caledonian Braves have all had them still in uni in the beginning. It is fantastic, and it helps us out. It keeps us, don't have to put out a podcast every week, or because there's other content out there. You mentioned obviously the sponsor. I noticed, like many clubs, you've done a sponsorship raffle for your kits. And by the way, Kappa, what a make for a kit, by the way. But in terms of the sponsor, obviously, I was kind of bamming up Caledonian Braves a wee bit because I noticed that Thrive won, and they have the sort of logo "Be Bold, Be Brave," just as the Caledonian Braves were trying to figure out a motto, and I think that was something talked about.
Actually, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that. So the cool thing about the winner is I know that it was one of my sales. So I think a guy called Sean Reddington, he lives down in Nottingham, so he's not related to the town, not related to the club. I'd kind of sort of tapped into my LinkedIn network, and Sean bought 5 tickets. So in a nice way, it was great he won, but he's not really going to get anything from that sponsorship in terms of what he does is technology-based learning. But it is funny actually when I think now about the strapline and how it ties in. But actually, I tell you a funny story about Thrive. With them winning it, obviously there was a lot of social media, and one of Sean Reddington's really good pals is Alex Hales, the England cricketer, the national team cricketer. And Alec Hales has been tweeting away about Berwick Rangers and that. So apparently he's going to come up with some of his mates when, fingers crossed, we get people back in the ground at some stage soon. But they're going to come up and do a bit of hospitality and that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, we've been delighted with the Kappa stuff. It was a bit like we spoke to O'Neill's, we spoke to a couple of others as well. But what we wanted to do was go with something that was just a wee bit different and a wee bit unique. And they came up with 2 really great bespoke kits for us, both of which have a story, as I said to you yesterday. And then we've got the 3rd strip, which is effectively our change, but it's our foundation strip. And we've partnered up with the Chris Mitchell Foundation up in Falkirk, sort of to try with increased focus on mental health this year. So yeah, I've been really pleased with it so far. But the sponsorship raffle was fantastic. We recognise, for example, if it was 10k, we couldn't really go out and ask a business these days for a 10k sponsorship. So we thought the quickest way to achieve that would be to work really hard as a board to try and sell as many tickets as we can at £250. And Bob's your uncle. we actually raised more than what we probably would have sold the shirt sponsorship for. So it was a major success for us, and something that we're really, really grateful for the fans again and the businesses locally to have supported us.
Yeah, and you mentioned the kits there. Obviously, we did have we're DMing about kits yesterday. I think Berwick, obviously the black and gold is quite iconic with Berwick, and the away strip, obviously the Northumberland flag. We kind of discussed the idea of Barcelona, obviously with the Catalonian flag. Even the away kit is quite nice. The white and black. I think it's pretty.
Yeah. Well, if you probably notice the white kit, and people notice it when they see it, is all the badges are black and white. So we went for the diversity and inclusion type angle on it. And we want to keep the front clean, because actually one of the things that our supporters asked us was that if we had a sponsor who won the raffle, would they actually happily keep their names off the front of the shirts? Because a lot of supporters want shirts which are blank, like the Motherwell shirt, for example. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the away kit was really good fun to make, because I every year I go to play golf in September normally with a group of guys in Valencia. So the Valencia third strip is the regional strip. Yeah. And again, it's blue and yellow. So I'd seen that blue and yellow idea for like 5-10 years since I've been playing golf. And obviously, as you alluded to, the Barcelona colours. So we kind of looked at doing something different. And, most Berwick people will, go on about being Berwickers or English or Northumbrians, but we'd never ever done anything about it. So we just felt by maybe using a bit of our English heritage as well as our Scottish heritage with the black and gold, it would maybe be an opportunity to play on almost both sides of the border. And the shirt sales for the Kappa away kit have been pretty phenomenal, to be honest, so far. So, but yeah, I've been really pleased with the quality, and really pleased with the the work that we've had from Border Embroiders who have given us that support.
Yeah, and getting into the sort of football end of things, I know I've sort of alluded to it, but I've noticed obviously you guys have had volunteers in doing your DIY days. Is it a wee bit different? Obviously, you mentioned obviously Berwick are in England. The only other team, obviously, is Scottish non-league Tweedmouth Rangers in the east of Scotland. Is it going to be different for you guys in terms of regulations? I know the sort of legislation doesn't affect sporting events, or it certainly doesn't at the moment, or team sports, I think the word is. But are you a wee bit worried that there might be a cause for concern on for teams or fans coming down to Berwick?
Yes, so far not concerned. Obviously, like you, probably watching it every day, because as we all know, it's changing by the day. And I think we're also all trying to work out the logic of not being able to take a team out of an authority and playing a different authority in Glasgow. Yet you can jump on a train and drive through and have a beer or whatever it is. So we're okay. If the fact we're in England, I get that. We're just over the border, but we are both 2 within ourselves are governed obviously under our SFA licensing. So. Yeah. We've very clearly followed the Scottish regulations, that came down from Hampden, and then obviously through David Baxter, the guys at the Lowland League, and obviously to North with the East of Scotland League. So, I mean, this weekend's game, for example, at Shielfield Park, we've got Heriot Watt and a friendly with BJ and the guys, and we've had to be meticulous in our preparation for it. There's been emails flying back and forward between our COVID officer Gary Burns, who's done an absolutely phenomenal job, thankless task. But he's been speaking to the Heriot Watt COVID officer, and they've been working out how it's all going to operate. And we've had conversations as well with the referee. So, our subs will sit in the stand, and the Heriot Watt subs, they'll be on the other side of the pitch and the other side dugout, which is not normal for us. And we'll put some seats in the ducket and that. So, we're working through it. We just want to see the guys back on a pitch. They deserve it. I mean, they've had to put up with a fair bit so far, but legislation and stuff as it is, we've worked really hard to kind of make sure that that we adhere to it. And we've been grateful for the fans, as you said, who've came in and helped us get black paint on the railings, and things all scrubbed down and clean. So all is good at the moment. Touch wood, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and we recently had the confirmation of some sort of competitive fixtures. Obviously, I think the league fixtures are coming out very soon, but certainly the Soccer Shop Challenge Cup, you were drawn away to Upper Annandale with the South of Scotland. Yeah. How are you looking forward to playing Uppers?
Yeah, well, firstly, I want to commend you for getting that out, because I know you've been having a wee bit of a challenge with that Soccer Cup, Scottish Cup, South of Scotland Cup. I've listened to you on the last couple of shows that you've done, and I'm sure Tam Scobie and the guys at the Soccer Shop will be delighted that you're starting to kind of get to grips with it now. But you know what? It's a game, and did we actually think maybe 2 years ago we'd be playing at Moffat against Upper Annandale? Absolutely not. But we're not snobby, we're not pretentious. We'll treat the game like we would treat any others. We'll do as much homework on them as we can. obviously they're from the South of Scotland League and that, and then we'll go over there and hopefully apply ourselves and take the win and progress to the next round. But I mean, there's a lot going on at the club behind the scenes with the first team and that. We've brought in data analysts, we've brought in GPS, we play data, we've got that all in place, and we're about to announce as well that we've just signed up with Athlete Focus to look at proper strength and conditioning and nutrition programs. So just because these guys are not at the same level necessarily as Berwick in terms of scale, we won't treat them any more lightly than we would do a bigger club. So
yeah, I do have to think about it every time I say it, Dave, to be honest with you, or I do end up Sean Connery. That's why I let Derek do it most of the times, but the cup draw obviously couldn't be helped. But no, I was actually, we were lucky enough to stream the Challenge Cup draw, so it was fantastic, and it was good to get that wee bit of excitement, something to look forward to.
I think that's all people want. They just want to see the first run on the board. Like, when's that first game? And because at the minute, like, for example, okay, I'm telling you guys we're playing Herrick Watt on Saturday. That's fine. We're not in, fans aren't at the game. They're not coming in. But to an extent, we're not allowed to not allowed, but we're encouraged not to officially, market games through social media and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine. When people are not daft. They wouldn't turn up at games if they know they can't and that. But so it was great actually seeing a proper draw, and then obviously you guys had your graphics up like we did, and it just felt a bit more real. That I get sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but maybe we are walking towards hopefully some form of return, and then over the course of the next few months we can get back to some element of normality. Because it's funny, we all talked last year, I think, at this time about Berwick FC and when they folded, and to an extent we've probably all had our own little Berwick FC experiences this year where we've just not had our football clubs and we've not been able to go to watch a game and that. So so it's exciting. And I think the Annandale game I think that's in November, back in November, that game.
Yeah.
And obviously there's still discussions going on, as I think as well, with regards to the Scottish Cup and the format that we're trying to pull together for that. So, fingers crossed we might still get an opportunity to kind of be drawn out of the hat with that. So.
Yeah, brilliant. And you obviously mentioned a few of the players. Obviously, I did read an article recently with Kevin Waugh, who's obviously been on the show. Him and Lewis Barr, obviously, we spoke to during lockdown. You kind of obviously sort of touched on it a wee bit, but what are your experiences with the sort of players? I know there's certainly frustration at the moment, certainly because things aren't sort of moving along as quickly as they could be, but what are the things sort of behind the scenes? How hard is it for you guys to sort of keep to these guidelines to be out with the norm, basically? Yeah,
I mean, we all had that stop-start moment, didn't we, a month ago, where we had our first pre-season training session at Dalkeith Thistle's ground. We had a whole pitch. It was marked into quarters. We had small groups, coaches allocated. We had a coaching staff who were there about 90 minutes before the game training started, with all the disinfected waters. The cones was washed, the balls were washed. We followed every guideline to the nth degree. We trained the Saturday, we trained the Tuesday. We split the squad actually on the Tuesday. We went 9 on the Tuesday, and then the other 9 were on the way to training on the Thursday night. And as we all know by now, it came out at tea time that night that training was off. So that in itself was demoralising for the coaching staff at the same time as it was demoralising for the players. I guess all we can do is keep speaking to them. So Kevin Haynes and Yano and the guys, they're really good with the players. They keep in touch with them on social media. They've had conversations and meetings and stuff like that. So it was really good. 2 weeks ago again back, we were able to get back on it. So that's us now had 2 full weeks plus Tuesday night last night. So we're progressing. I think what's maybe made our life a wee bit easier, to be honest, is that a lot of the stuff going off the pitch at the club has actually inspired the boys in terms that it's kept them and felt, making them feel that they're involved. And I know I speak to Kevin a lot, to be honest. I know that Kevin has been a huge advocate of ours in terms of the directors, in terms of what we're trying to do. And, he's been really grateful for things like the GPS stuff that we've brought in, the strength and conditioning stuff, how we're actually trying to treat the players now. So we do more Let It Be BARFC podcast interviews as well. I guess when you feel really good though, it's when you hear the new guys like Andy McNeil, the goalkeeper who's came in from Edrey. It's like when they talk about, it's as good here at Berwick as it is where I was at Edrey, if not better in times like that. You think, we're obviously doing the right things just to keep the players engaged and motivated. And as I say, the proof will be in the pudding when we can get back on a pitch at the weekend, and we'll take it from there. And we've not had a massive turnover this summer. You know, we retained 11 of the players that we had last year, the ones that we wanted to, and we've introduced a further, 7 new players. So, but from what I've seen so far, the new guys have been well integrated, pretty quickly, and hopefully a couple more additions this week by Friday. That'll be where we need to be. So we'll just try to finish a couple off just now. So.
Yeah, and there was one thing you can sort of commend Berwick for. These guys, similar to maybe Cumbernauld Colts, kind of done your business a wee bit early. Guys, obviously Jordan Sinclair coming down from Edinburgh City's a class signing. I notice Lyle Smith has always been a sort of standout for Vale Leaving. And some of the younger guys, as you mentioned, the 2 goalies, Joe Purves, obviously Dan's brother. So quite excited actually about your squad.
Well, different. And you know that you and I were having a wee bit of fun when I sent you the message about some of the predictions and stuff like that. And it's like, you're not mentioning Berwick, and we were laughing and sort of directors quietly saying that's good. We will just quietly go about what we're doing and creep around in the background. And but I think the average age of our team, I worked it out before I came on tonight, is 24-year-old. We're a young squad, a young team. But when you look at people like Jordan Sinclair, Ewan Smith, a captain who hopefully have a full season properly now after he had a difficult start of the year last year from a family point of view. You've got Kevin and Callum Smith, and Louis Barr. Retaining Louis was phenomenal for us because there were plenty of clubs chasing him. So we have a good core, and I feel for Ian Little last year and Yano in the team because they started the season off with 12 players in the Betfred. He was literally trying to sign players as each day went by, and this year he's got the luxury of having a squad in place, having the thought about his philosophy and how he wants to play. And hopefully we'll surprise a few teams this year. People probably will take us maybe a little bit more lightly. But then again, the people in the game who know us probably know that we do play good football. Maybe last year we were just making too many mistakes at the wrong time in games. So. Yeah,
and just out of curiosity, did you add Darren to that for the squad average?
Actually, ironically, with Darren Smith in that squad, it's 24. It's 24.1 actually. So hopefully, with the 2 additions that we hopefully should clear out this week, it might come down a wee bit more, maybe to a 22 or a 23. But Daz is in that. Listen, he's. It's funny, right? Because on a Saturday night, I get the rucksack with all the GPS chips, and I upload all the data. So it's fair to say that chip number 7 hasn't really had much data put into it in the last 2.5 weeks. But he was doing it on Saturday. I saw him up and down the dunes at Gullen, and I know he's had a couple of other sessions. So fitness might be going a wee bit now, but he's still got the ability and the talent when you watch him at training.
Absolutely. And obviously just a wee bit of a wind up there, but no, it's good to hear obviously that the guys are getting on and they're gelling. As you said, you guys don't have much turnover. I think a lot of the teams that you would probably expect to be up there have, like East Kilbride, Kelty, for example. But what are your sort of predictions? Have you got anything maybe out with Berwick or certainly for Berwick for this?
Yeah, I mean. For us, I think I said to you, 12th out of 16. Obviously, it's 17 this year. It's unacceptable, and it's not. I don't say unacceptable as in a criticism of the management. It's for us as the club. It's unacceptable. So we can't keep having people tell us we're a big club and not behave like a big club. So at least we're now behaving like a big club. So hopefully the results will come. But I would like to think in a league of 17, our target would be top 8 at least.
Yeah.
But thereafter, I'm not going to say we're going to be top 2, top 3. We're a young side, and hopefully I'm saying we're building for the future, which sounds odd as well at low level, but we have got a young squad, and if we do the right things off the pitch, I think a lot of the players we have would stay with us for beyond this year if it was right for them. So I would suspect top 8 would be the target. I suspect we will be more consistent, which hopefully means less defeats, maybe more draws, more wins. I personally thought after a couple of shaky games when we took over in January, I thought the football was starting to come. I remember watching us at Cumbernauld Colts at Broadwood, ironically, and I heard you saying the other night about they're a tough team at home, but we battered the Colts that day and we hammered them 1-1. And, for me, we should have probably had that game out of sight. So, yeah, a bit of consistency, definitely top half of the league. We definitely want to turn a few heads. A couple of surprise results would be good for us. I mean, it's not a criticism, but I think I've learned this year that what comes into the club has to be more than what goes out of the club. And, we are paying wages at the moment that we think are sustainable based on the way our business is growing. but at the same time, we're not going to pay ridiculous wages. So, there's a player that we're looking to sign, hopefully we'll be able to announce tomorrow, where he's, we've offered him a weekly wage, but we've offered him other things that will help him in his business that he's setting up, in terms of a bit of mentoring from one of the directors, which is different because, this is a guy that's dropping out of full-time football to go part-time. So we're trying to do things like that maybe other clubs will just think about, well, what's your weekly wage? Whereas we just can't compete with that. So
yeah. And it is interesting. I think, even when I've said, obviously, the likes of Cali Braves and Cumbernauld Colts will push or whatever, and Berwick, I think it's always tough because when you think about a top 8, you've obviously got so many clubs that you would expect to be up there. Obviously, East Kilbride, Kelty, Bonnyrigg, Spartans, BSC, Stirlingshire. I mean, that's 6 already. So it's getting very, very hard to... It's a tough league, basically. It's a completely tough league to predict, really.
It's been interesting watching the transfer business and the signings and that. I mean, I'm good mates with Derek here as well. I know Derek really well. We've had a lot of good chats because obviously I live up in Pullman, so I know Dale and I see him quite a bit. But they look like they haven't spent as much maybe as they have done in previous seasons. They look like they've had to rein it in a bit, which, I suspect that's just where we're at with COVID. Even your club, I don't think at the moment, and I know there'll still be guys to come in, but they seem to be a wee bit slower this year than they maybe were last year. Obviously, the one that we're all looking at is, through in the West at East Kilbride. And again, if it's to believe what's being paid for wages, then that's fine. That's entirely their predicament. But at the same time, we're not going to compete with that. Neither will be 90% of the clubs in the league won't compete with that. So, but it's funny. I've had a few conversations with Chris Ewan at the Braves. I like Chris. What he's trying to do. I like Chris's marketeering background and stuff. And I remember him saying to me halfway through COVID at some stage that the Lowland League is actually quite an exciting product now. It's no longer the 5th division. It's probably equally as good as the SPFL 2, if not even creeping into some of SPFL 1. So I just think we've got a really good product. I think we as a club at Berwick are genuinely pleased that we've re-established our club in the last 8-9 months, and we'll kick on from now. And maybe we're a promotion target team next season or maybe the season after, but at the moment it's just consolidate off the pitch as well as continue to build on it. So
brilliant, Dave, brilliant. And it was interesting actually. You mentioned obviously Chris. I did join the Caledonian Braves app. I think it's fantastic, pretty decent, and it's great having access to guys like Ricky and Chris. If you've got a few comments, and obviously I mentioned the motto thing earlier. I thought that was funny, but ironic.
I'm gonna have to share that with the comms guys when I get off. I actually never thought about that. Be bold, be brave. Which is quite ironic. Now, maybe I need to send them a message later on and say, like, by the way, I wasn't trying to kind of steal your competition. So, but but the thing is with them, they said nicely they don't have a massive heritage, so they are having to create one.
Yeah.
And the whole social media thing and the app and that, that's important to them. And I kind of admire them for that. I mean, I think I said to you when I met you, one of the key things for us has been how do we activate 20,000 followers on all our channels, and that stood us in good stead. I mean, for example, we signed a major sponsorship with a company called Ekstase, which is like a Red Bull sports drink, a German drinks manufacturer. And the directors that own it were at Shieldfield Park yesterday, and after giving us an initial batch of money for training kit, I think the last words they said to the directors yesterday was, "We are now married to Berwick." So, for us, that may be a massive opportunity that's came out of our social media strategy. So we will be upgrading our website in the next couple of months. The work's underway with that. We're trying to bring that up to spec as well. So.
And just in terms of your games, are you open to live stream any? I noticed obviously you've got your Berwick Rangers TV and whatnot, but are you hoping to provide something for the fans if you just even pre-season?
Yeah, I hope so. I think we're going to muck about with it a wee bit on Saturday. We're going to have a shot at that. I mean, I was pretty familiar with Mike Cujo when with working with Glasgow City when I was doing the scouting work for the Champions League against Bromby and that. So Mike Cujo is a really great platform. So we've definitely been looking into Mike Cujo. Obviously, we then need to look at the Wi-Fi capability in the ground, or alternatively, we use a 5G dongle. But it's absolutely something that we want to be doing and something that we want to be trying. At the very worst, it'll be a full game recording, and then it'll be played out, maybe delayed, whatever, 45 minutes or an hour after. But live streaming is definitely part of what we're looking at the moment, most definitely. No, I think you guys have done. You do an amazing job. It's funny you were on about the podcasts and that. I think if we asked us all if we listen to podcasts very much in January. I don't think many of us would say, yeah, we listen to many podcasts, but I think the world that we're in at the moment, you know, that chance for 30 minutes just to reflect and listen to what other people are doing, I think, you know, so, no, I think you've been brilliant. I think you guys have kept a lot of the clubs up to date, and it does make me smile that hopefully you're going to be down and around the grounds a bit more. So we would love to see you down at Berwick, and then you never know, if you enjoy it, which hopefully you will, maybe you'll give us a wee few more mentions in that. But but at the moment, no, everything's really good. We're delighted, and you know, we genuinely want to just say thank you to the fans, and fingers crossed for all the clubs in the Lowland League and beyond that we, you know, we'll hopefully see you all soon.
I think I can't remember who it was. I think it's been a few people. Obviously, we've not really. Originally, we used to just cover the Lowland League. Obviously, now we've kind of not had loads to say, Dave. So we've included the West of Scotland, East of Scotland, and whatnot. So I think once we get back into it, we'll have our separate Lowland League, West of Scotland, and stuff. So we will have time and focus on the players.
Yeah, you do an amazing job. I think you guys needed to have a break. I think Adam, our own guy at Letter BRFC, has just had a wee break as well. I don't think people really appreciate the effort that you guys put into things like this. And, you know, okay, it might be 40 minutes chatting on the phone to me, but at the same time, you then need to go and edit it, you know, play it back the way you want to play it, and then set it up. So, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. It's really, really invaluable at the moment, I think. So, well done.
Brilliant, Dave. And I'll let you go, but I really appreciate, obviously, your guys' support. And hopefully, as you said, I'll get down to Sheffield this year or next.
Yeah, we'll get you one of those Northumbrian Berwick Rangers tops just so you can get it, and you can get it hung up on the wall or something like that. So.
Brilliant, Dave. Thank you.
Okay, take care.